Yeah, not too good this week. Fairly decent, but yeah, we'll go into it. Yeah, gone down a bit of a down the season ranks a bit, but yeah, that things just didn't go my way in the final in the last few games. Uh, still ranking the top 8,000, still in the top 5%, which is great, but you know could have been a lot better. Here we go. All right, let's see. Yeah, won 3 out of 5. Bit annoyed. Tom Stewart, disappointing a bit. Again, 90's okay. It's barely passable, to be honest. You want to play like you want to get at least 110, average around about that, but 120 be great. But 92, I mean, yeah, considering the ball didn't go on defence that much in the second half, I guess you just have to take it. Rory Laird, one of his better scores, to be honest, finally lives up to the hype, what we expected. Decent score, great job from him. 521, decent price too, not extremely expensive, but yeah, it's been disappointing this season, to be honest. We're expecting at least 110, 115 would be great for an average, but he just hasn't delivered as much as what we thought he would. Yeah, Ridley, yeah, decent from Ridley, but not as well as what he's done in the first few rounds. Hasn't recovered quite from that injury, so what can you ask? I mean, hopefully we'll come back to his best in a few more weeks. He's down to 488. He's better than that, and yeah, that injury affected game has hurt him a bit, and he'll go down in price maybe one more week, depending how well he does well next week. If he does well next week, hopefully he'll go up. And it's good for non-owners, but for owners, I'll bring him in now, to be honest. He's played a few games now after his injury. He should be fine, hopefully. Could have done better. But, yeah, Bose, he was hoping for 100 plus with him as well, but he's still fairly young, so yeah, I mean he's 93, barely passable. Hoping for 100 plus at minimum. But yeah, decent from him. Can't ask for much more. Joyath, yeah, good game from him. Hopefully does that every week. After a disappointing game last week. I mean, Hawthorn were terrible last week. We're a bit better this week, but they were just playing against a much stronger team. And he did well considering he's quite young. So 101, a bit better than I expected him to do, to be honest. But boy, he had a great first quarter. Second and third quarter he didn't do as well, but remained steady, did alright in the last. Decent game. Let's hope he does it every week and hopefully becomes a keeper, which still not too sure. He'll probably average around about 90 for the rest of the season. He may die out towards the end. Young players generally do, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, Kaczynski, disappointing. 38. I mean, hoping for at least minimum of 60 now. His price has gone up a bit, but you want his price to go to 300, 350, down till we get to 400 because he's just inconsistent. But again, he has to be kicking goals, and he didn't even kick one today, which is disappointing. You want him to get at least a couple of goals each week, which is it's going to be difficult for a young player. But he might sell him soon. We'll see how we go with him. Yeah, I mean, who knows with him? He could get 100 one week and get 20 next week. He's that sort of player. Murphy, I think he got injured too, concussed it, but I think he still might be available for the next game. I was planning to get Frederick like everyone else, but there's just another crap that goes on every week, as there is with Supercoach. You just don't know with some of these rookie selections. I mean, he deserved the game, Frederick, after his decent performance. It's like with Highmore. Why aren't these guys getting selected is beyond me. I just don't get it, to be honest. They're good enough to play, select them. Performing well, select them. It's alright to give them a break, but after 2 games, I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, Murphy, alright. For 3 quarters, he's looking to probably get 80, and he probably could have, this guy. If he didn't get injured, he might have got 80. And hopefully he plays next round. He did get concussed, but he seems to be fine, hopefully, to play. So, fingers crossed, because, I don't want to get a 0. Yeah, Sam Walsh, disappointing. I mean, 89, Carlton performed terrible in the last quarter. Yeah, it's hoping for a minimum of 100 from him again. So, still fairly young, so, you expect a bad, poor game here, and it wasn't that poor, but, yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but you want 100 plus for his player, his price. It's as simple as that, and that can be the difference between a good high-end ranking. Oliver, fairly decent, again for Oliver, but he hasn't gone those mega 140 plus scores, which is what we're hoping for. I mean, 115 average is great, but you want that 120, 130 from him now. He's in his prime now. You want him to get those huge 150 plus scores, and he just hasn't got that yet, which is a good sign from other players, stepping in from Melbourne, which is what they wanted. They're on top of the ladder. They could have easily been 2 games clear if Bulldogs did win today. So, it's good for Melbourne. Sharing the load more and more at Melbourne. Merritt, good score. That's what you want from Merritt. Just fairly consistent. Merritt doesn't get a terrible score that often. So, if you want consistency, pick him. Doesn't really get those extreme scores, but haven't seen that too often from the Essendon team. Toronto, another great score this week. And this is the difference. This is what's kept me improving my ranks, except this week. So Toronto's performing well. Not too many people have him, which is great for me. Yeah, he's kind of happy with his pick now. He's stepping up Toronto. Can't ask for much more. Continue the great work, Toronto. Brayshaw, it is one of the disappointing players this week. Really let me down the last round. Today I was expecting to get 2,220, and I just couldn't get it because of this bloke here, Brayshaw. I need 100 plus from him. He's 500k. I know he's young, but had a terrible first half. Did great in the last quarter like Freo did, but as like Freo, they were disappointed in the first 3 quarters. They did improve in the last quarter, which lifted his score a bit, which saved him from getting another 40 or 50. So it could have been a lot worse. But really need players like him to fire. Justin Martin, this player is just half the first few rounds he's just been terrible. Martin, people are hype on that he's the greatest player he isn't. Abbott's a lot better in my opinion. He's more consistent. Dustin Martin, great grand final player. He does it when it matters, but he hasn't really done that when Richmond have been on the pump. This season, I mean, he didn't play when they beat Bulldogs. He didn't step up when Melbourne the game was on the line. He's been disappointing this season, other than the first 2 rounds, really. So Martin needs to lift. Hopefully he has a good game there here and now and then. I mean, Richmond have played a few good teams in the last few weeks, like Bulldogs, Melbourne, and Geelong in the last 3 rounds. So, I just don't think Richmond win the flag. They say that every year at some point, to prove people wrong. I just don't think they'll do it this year, Difficult to win 3 in a row, but that's not Richmond rule. Power, decent, okay. I mean, for a rookie, but I think that's at the point now where you're not going to make so much money from him. He's done well, probably one of the best rookies this year. So great job, just like another North Melbourne player, which I'll talk about in a minute. Should we keep him? I guess keep him for now. Maybe get rid of him in the bye rounds. We'll see how we go there. Because the bye rounds is where we might have to make a few changes. Another excellent score from James Jordan. It's exactly what we want. So, 85 is excellent. Keeping him has been an absolute great pleasure. I can't ask for much more. Great pickup. Glad to get rid of him. Can't believe some people did. You got to be patient with some of these players. I know that could be said for another player I'll talk about in a minute. Jordan, decent score. And Scott and McNeil, jeez. They performed better than Dustin Martin. I mean, who would have thought McNeil was dead and Scott, these two performed really well and helped Bulldogs come back in that last quarter. So, it looks like these two will probably still continue to get a game. Keep them if you have them because their price will still continue to rise, and it's glad I kept them. that could be a difference between me finishing the top 5,000 or not. That's what I'm trying to aim for. This week sort of hurt me a little bit. Some of the players just didn't perform well as what I wanted. Brockman, keep him as a loophole, I guess. Brockman. This is another player who could get 80 and get 20. Hasn't been getting picked. So I don't know. I'll just keep him there. It's frustrating. You want him to be scoring and just to play, to be honest. But yeah, the Reichman here. Yeah, both of them haven't really got that mega score yet. As much. Not too many 150 pluses. Grundy, not as good as the last few weeks. 128. A lot of people had him on his vice. You could probably take it, but your real star players just haven't performed that well this week, unfortunately. That's just the way it is, unfortunately, the last few weeks with some of them. Grundy, okay, but you want more from a player his price. Same with Gawn. I mean, he's cheaper than Grundy. I still reckon Gawn's a better player and a must pick. But last week he's just stuffed up his score, and this week he hasn't performed as well. I guess that's a good sign though from Melbourne's perspective, having Luke Jackson performing well, which is what they want. He's stepping up, leading a less workload for Gawn, which is good for him. But good for the squad. Good for Melbourne. Good on him. But Gawn as captain, he's been the best Supercoach player the last few years. So, who knows? Flynn, Munford did perform as well this round. Hopefully Flynn gets a game next round. We'll see. He can generate that money and hopefully he can get up to 400k and just sell him there, bring him a rookie and get cash, I guess. Zeeble, another great score from him. Unfortunately, did get pulled off the game, which affected his score. Probably could have got 120, 130. Again, he's another North Melbourne player. I picked the two right North Melbourne players here. They've both been superb. There's your positive sign from North Melbourne this year. Tom Powell and Zeeble. There you go. There's your only positive, North Melbourne. Yeah, great pick. Can't believe he's F1. Been the best forward probably this year, I think. If not, he's up there. Bolton, another good player I picked. Keeping me in the game, to be honest. One away. This is what you get with Richmond players. They're not going to get extremely good scores, but both are probably the best player this month. For Richmond, Shea Bolton, good score. Can't ask for much more. With Bolton, that's what you want. Side bottom, brought him in for Rowe, and I'll talk about Rowe now. To be honest, Rowe decided to get an 80 when I drop him. That'd be right. When I pick him, he does shit. If I don't put him in my team, he does great. So I just had enough of it. I can't be bothered with it anymore. I brought side bottom in for consistency. I don't know if this is the right pick. Marshall and Kelly were probably a bit better options, but slightly cheaper. I reckon he's underperformed this season for side bottom. I reckon he can improve a bit more and improve his scoring a bit. I reckon he can average up to a 90, 100 this year. We'll see how we go. Hopefully he gets a minimum 95 average. He's a forward midfield swing, so, I'm just going to try and save money where I can this season. Done another decent score for him. This looks like a great decision, keeping him. It's really benefited me. He could have got 100 today, which is disappointing. I think Zeeble was probably the best one. And then probably MP, which has really pissed me off. I'm really surprised about MP. I'm really surprised. I really underrated him. It's really killed me. Picking him over Dow, which, to be honest, a lot of players have done better than Dow. You could have picked Bruce and even Peter Wright over him. Dow has just been terrible, and unfortunately, he was probably the player. It's been an absolute disaster pick. Just a disaster. Should have picked MP. I didn't realise he was going to perform that well, because he's only averaged 70 as his highest, I believe. But I guess the ball's in defence more since Hawthorn's a crap team this year. So, Wayne are a bit disappointing again. This is another player who's going down in price, but we have to keep him due to the forwards keep getting injured. Made all the top forwards, so you're keeping him for now, I guess, but you might sell him during the trade. During the buys, we'll see. Jones, decent again. Still going in price. bumped up his average a bit. Kicked a couple of goals. It's alright, but we'll see how we go from there. Maybe keep him for another week, because it seems like he's getting a game, which is what you want, unlike this other fella, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it's Atu, whatever you want to call him. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not going to embarrass myself by doing so. Good. I mean, he's performing well as well the last few weeks. They decided to get... This is another player, just like, what's his name here? Fenric. Gets dropped after performing okay. So, I don't know, with North Melbourne, I guess they're trying to experiment. I mean, I guess that's all you can do, but really pisses me off, because I suppose Jones performed well enough, 60, so I don't know how well, Atu's can perform, but you need that money, I guess, coming through, which is disappointing. So, I don't know. Overall, the forward line didn't really stuff me up too much this round. I actually did okay. It was, I guess, Martin, Brayshaw, maybe Walsh even performed below par. And probably Kaczynski really let me down, I guess, and maybe a bit of Ridley, I could say. But no one really got a big score on my team this round, and that would probably really cost me this round for not getting into that top 5%, which I really reckon I can get again. Yeah. So I don't know who I'm going to trade in this week, to be honest. I don't know. Too difficult. We'll see how we go. I'll probably save my trades unless there's a rookie that's going up in price. I'll bring him in. Otherwise, I'm just going to save trades for the buy round. It seems like that's where I'm going to have to use a lot of them to get ahead of everyone.